Hello, brothers and sisters. I gotta keep my voice down a little for this one because my family is actually asleep right now. So, I wanted to share with you because I've had a few people request and they have asked me, you talk a lot about, or they've told me, you talk a lot about problems with the system that the scripture calls the world, which is the Babylonian, Persia, Greece, and Rome temples that we find, but you don't talk a lot about what a true gathering looks like. So I have read to y'all Romans 12, 1 Corinthians 12, and Ephesians 4. So I would like to explain to you now what a true gathering is. The true gatherings are where you come together to witness about the persecutions that you have experienced in Jesus Christ and to bear testimony, which is the same word often as witness. And in the scriptures, that's actually the word martyreo, where we get our word martyr. And then you have sun martyreo, and it means to witness together. It means to be a witness, to see. Just as Jesus says, we say that we do see and you don't hear our report. So the importance of understanding the true gathering and understanding the importance of the gathering and why that is was answered by Paul when he said, I determined to know nothing among you except for Christ and him crucified. And to partake in his blood is to go into the world and tell people the truth and witness for yourself how much people dislike the truth, or not even so much that they dislike it as much as they worship these messengers. They worship these messengers. They don't stand on the side of Jesus Christ. Oftentimes they'll agree with you on things about how we're wage slaves and industries destroying the world, and people are greedy and focused on material things, and they believe in naturalism and these status symbols, and people will agree with you on that. But when it comes down to it, they will not agree that we ought to be hated. We ought to be persecuted. We ought to suffer persecution. And the reason why we are going to go through that is because we don't want to become a part of the world. So, without beating a dead horse, so to speak, I wanted to share that with y'all. A true gathering is to gather and speak and witness to the fact that we know that Jesus Christ is working with us. He's here. He's with the gathering. And the only way we can know that for sure and understand that is when we become a part of Jesus Christ's suffering. That's how you know. That's how you recognize a true believer from an unbeliever. Someone lamented that fact that there was no marks on them, and this was written of in Kittle's Theological Dictionary of the New Testament. He lamented the fact that there were no marks to tell the difference. Well, there is a mark to tell the difference, and that's whether you're being hated for what you're saying or whether you're being loved for what you're saying. Whether people want to be done with what you're saying or whether the world embraces you. That's why I always use the examples of, say, Billy Graham, John MacArthur, Greg Laurie, these men that people put up on a pedestal, and we find that no one in the scriptures were putting themselves up on a pedestal who were in the right way. Now, the scripture does contain people who were evil, and they were going in the wrong way. It's what the military called forgetting where you're coming from. When I was in the Marines, they forget where they're coming from. Samuel said this to Saul. He said, I can't remember exactly how he worded it, but he says, when you were little in your own sight, did not God make you the king? I can't remember exactly how he words it, and I'm going to read that to y'all one day, God willing. But he says, when thou wert little in thine own sight, what happens when we cease to be little in our own sight and we're lifted up in pride and begin to get adulation from men? We become like fallen man, just another fallen man. So let us rejoice in our persecutions to know that the glory of God rests upon us when we are hated, as Paul said so, or Peter said. So I hope this helps. We're the suffering kings and priests of the world. That's how we can lift the weary hands that hang once we find ourselves there in the rut and in the gutter, at the bottom of the hill, not at the top of it being worshipped by people at the top of the mountain, right? So, or at the bottom of the ladder. So I hope y'all found this encouraging, and thank you for taking the time to listen. All right, see you on the next video. Bye.